The Dodgers have fallen out of first place. National publications appear to be underselling UCLA football. And USC has a big weekend of recruiting ahead. Starting now. Hi, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelenos. It is June 18th, 2022. By the time you see this, I'm going to be on a plane heading back home to see my wife and hopefully land just in time for Galaxy Game Day. Very much looking forward to it. Now, we added a new subscriber yesterday. Thank you for getting in on the ground floor. We've been out this for 4 months. And if you like the content we've been putting out, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. We try to put videos out between 9 and 10 a.m. every day to let you know it's there. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yes, comments. Because after all, I am in a basement and I'm bored as hell. Now, before we get to the main topic of USC's recruiting for football, let's go through the scores, the news, and notes from around LA. Last night, the Cleveland needed 10 innings, but they did do it. The Cleveland Guardians, the Godardians, the Branch Davidians, what the hell they call themselves, who knows? But they win 2-1. San Diego has taken over first place by a half a game. Now, as for today's schedule, Cleveland will play the Dodgers again. It is Julio Urias. He is 3-6. Quantrill, I should say, goes for Cleveland. He is 4-3. MLS is back. That makes me happy. LAFC is going up to Seattle. They'll play at noon. I like LAFC's odds. Raul Ruidiaz, who is a major contributor to the Sounders, he will not be playing today due to a hamstring injury. And by the way, Portland will play the Galaxy at 2 p.m. The Galaxy have won 3 consecutive matches against Portland. Tough times for the Timbers. Let's get some Dodger notes out of the way. What do you say? Now, the roster will be adjusted by Monday. MLB is putting a limit on the number of pitchers that a team can carry because micromanaging Commissioner Rob Manfred can't leave well enough alone. The Dodgers and all teams will be limited to 13 pitchers. Now, you might be saying, well, why does this matter to the Dodgers? Why are you making it a big deal? Because the Dodgers have constructed their teams for years under the idea that they can carry at least one more pitcher and give pitchers rest so that they don't get injured. And if you've been following the Dodgers at all this year, that matters. See, the Dodgers have been signing players who contribute at multiple positions for years. You could think about Chris Taylor. You could say Max Muncy, or Cody Bellinger plays multiple positions. Years before, it was Kike Hernandez. If you play multiple positions and you're not locked in, that gives the Dodgers flexibility. That gives them the option to add a pitcher. Until the commissioner stepped in and said, nah, we don't want healthy pitchers. That's horrifying. Who would want that? Speaking of pitchers getting healthy, Blake Trinan, the reliever, arguably the Dodgers' best, says he is optimistic about how his rehab is going. He is confident he will be pitching before the end of the year. He just does not know when. Former Major League General Manager Jim Bowden, he now works for The Athletic as an insider, gives him the inside dope and whatnot. He has created a list of the 125 players most likely to be traded. He lists the Dodgers as buyers, but he lists 0 Dodgers as trade targets. Not Cody Bellinger, not Gavin Lux. Not that I'm saying you want to get rid of them, but those were the ones that fans have been saying, can we please trade this guy every so often? See, at some point, if you're going to make a trade, LA has to give something back. Wouldn't you say? Now, I do realize it's likely going to be minor leaguers, but I still found that curious. Athlon Sports has published a football preview for UCLA. They wound up ranking the Bruins 39th. I think that's a little low. I'm not saying they're top 10 or top 20, but 39th? And then, of course, they said things that we already know, right? They were saying, oh, yeah, they're going to return a lot of players on offense, and we're not really sold on the defense. I get those points. But the people that they return on offense means that they know the offense. So that's called a solid foundation. The Bruins are going to score. And as for their defense, I concede that we don't know necessarily what UCLA has on defense, but we do know their schedule. And that schedule is easy. So the idea that the Bruins learning curve on defense is not steep. They're going to have plenty of time to figure it out. So no, I don't think 39th is appropriate at all. The Kings have named Marco Sturm, a longtime NHL player, to be the coach of their minor league affiliate, the Ontario Reign. Sturm was an assistant coach for the Kings for 4 years. So theoretically, it could be a good hire in the sense that he knows the prospects and definitely knows what the Kings are going to want from those prospects. There's not going to be a lot of miscommunication there. ESPN has produced way too early power rankings for the NBA next year. They have ranked the Clippers 8th, they have ranked the Lakers 17th, and their explanations are pretty much exactly what you could predict without even thinking. Oh, Kawhi Leonard might be coming. Yeah, we know. We know. Well, the Lakers have work to do with the new coach. Yeah, we know. Thank you. Sometimes I don't think it ought to be mansplaining. I think it ought to be ESPN-splaining. I mean, we know. We know. Speaking of something we could have figured out a little bit for the next upcoming season is USC's recruiting. This last season was extremely obvious. Had Lincoln Riley stayed only with traditional recruiting, going to high schools and whatnot, the Trojans would have gotten just smoked. Because they had signed Lincoln Riley late in the year. Clay Helton was never considered a strong recruiter. There was one year where Clay Helton, the Trojans were ranked dead butt naked last in the Pac-12. So this guy could not only not coach, he couldn't recruit either. So the idea of Lincoln Riley immediately rebuilding the recruiting lines, that would have been a fantasy. That wasn't going to happen. So they had to hit the transfer portal hard. And thank God they did, because they wound up getting a boatload of talent. They hit the transfer portal like they had drank a triple espresso with a 5-hour energy chaser and then just basically sprinkled opiates on their cornflakes. They went after it. But this particular weekend, is where the rubber hits the road. You see, this is where they know they have to hit the streets for traditional recruiting. If they keep going to the transfer portal, that's like, the transfer portal is like a quick shot of adrenaline. It's like the EpiPen in a bad spy movie where you're telling Jack Bauer not to go to the light. But you can't build a team every year that way. You just can't. It's a recipe for mistakes because you're asking incoming players to contribute immediately, learning an entirely new playbook. It's not efficient. Which is exactly what Clay Helton's teams were, I might add. This weekend, the campus is going to get bombarded by, I'd say, about 10 blue-chip high schoolers, 5-star players, 4-star players, etc. And SC, well, we're going to tell you a little bit about what they have so far, what they're looking for, but we're not going to name players, not the ones who haven't signed on. And I'll tell you why in a moment. See, USC wants to add heft to both the offensive and defensive lines. They want to do that because they've already added a number of skill. They have a new quarterback for the class of 2023. Malachi Nelson is going to be coming in. They added 2 wide receivers for the class of 2023, Zachariah Branch, Mekhi Lemon. They've added a couple of linemen, one on each side of the ball, offense and D, but it's not enough. See, they also have 0 commitments at linebacker. This is a problem. This is from a school where the linebacker who gets to wear 55, that's the number of legend. That is literally like Luke Skywalker handing off the lightsaber to the next prepubescent kid who thinks he's going to be a Jedi. That's how important it is. They also, by the way, do have 2 commitments at defensive back. Now, I'm going to tell you why I don't want to name the prospects who are coming in this weekend. Not going to name them by names. It's a personal thing. I have hated, absolutely despised the idea of ESPN or Fox or any of the networks going to a kid's house, literally a child, a teenager, and treating him like a Kardashian. You know, you got the whole desk laid out, and behind him, he's got a microphone up to his face, and behind him is all his friends and family, and there's a bunch of rows of baseball caps representing all the schools, and it's always the same stupid shtick. The guy reaches for one cap, and he goes, psych, and then grabs the other cap, puts it on, and everybody starts dancing behind him, right? The kid hasn't even gone to his own prom, and yet he's got a hype team. He's got a bunch of Flavor Flavs behind him all doing whatever the hell flavor. I don't even know what the Flavor Flav dance was called, but we don't need that in life. I don't need a 17-year-old kid acting. I don't need 17-year-old Kardashians anymore. We can forgo that. So what I will tell you is who was coming in without naming names. We mentioned the Trojans are looking for heft. They are bringing in at least 5 potential offensive linemen. 5. They are also bringing in this weekend a potential defensive lineman. They're bringing in 2 potential tight ends. And they are bringing in 1 5-star linebacker who is allegedly the 2nd best linebacker in the country. So this is big. The Trojans need to hit bullseyes this weekend in order to reclaim their place among the national elite. Now, you can look up the names of the players. Like I said, I don't have a problem with you guys and I talking about it, but I'm just not going to give hype to a kid who hasn't signed. I want the kid to sign. That's news. Somebody considering, that's not news. UCLA has handed out scholarship offers to players. That isn't news. I don't want UCLA to get skunked. I don't want USC to get skunked. I want to celebrate the guys who are coming in. So among the people that USC is considering, or UCLA, you tell me who you would like to see lining up for your team next year. Now, if you enjoyed today's broadcast, don't forget to like and subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We are trying to build something here about LA sports. Thank you very much for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Quian Corta El Queso production. Have a great day.